When Saddam Hussein used the gases, some of the products were bought from us, and he was still our ally. So you can't ignore that. No, I don't. I think it's a false flag. I think really, indeed. And nobody knows if indeed he was slaughtering people by the thousands, with poison gas. That's a different story, but that isn't the case.
There you go. There is Ron Paul talking about a false flag. And we're joined for this segment and a little bit of the next, as he's about to get on an airplane, by the editor of World Affairs Brief, great geopolitical mind, Joel Skousen. Joel, what is your breakdown on what's really happening? Do you think there's going to be a limited strike attack? Will it be bigger? And what do you think will come out of it? Or will there not be a strike? And do you think this is a false flag with the rebels?
Well, it's definitely a false flag with the rebels, Alex. There is no way that Assad, knowing that the U.S. is just itching for an excuse to invade or to attack, would use a chemical weapon, a homebrew, one single weapon to kill a few people within his own neighborhood. It's just impossible to think that an intelligent, rational being would just hand the U.S. an excuse. This was clearly a homebrew rocket created by the rebels or fed to them by black operations. There's lots of sources of nerve gas that the U.S. has around. They can manufacture, they can, make it look like a mixture of many others. This is a dramatic false flag operation to justify this. Now, that said, I think it's important to realize that the situation is changing dramatically against the United States intent. I'm completely convinced they were intending to launch 200 to 300 cruise missiles and do a massive strike against this, but public support is waning fast. Congress is getting upset. It's a great news that the British Parliament just said no to David Cameron, leaving the U.S. hanging out there alone without UN support. They're really big as globalists on getting UN backing. All they've got is yes men in NATO and the U.S. people simply aren't buying it.
I have said this whole week, and I want to see if you agree with me, that this shows one of the biggest collapses in the New World Order, Anglo-American establishment's propaganda fronts. It's been over 150 years, or almost 200, since the British Parliament ever voted down a war. They're calling it absolutely unprecedented. And I see this really as a rout. But it's when the globalists are cornered, as you know, that they tend to then stage something even bigger.
Yeah, this is something they won't take no to. What's the only thing that is up in the air right now is whether or not they'll do a limited strike this weekend before the G20 summit. They don't want to be in a full war with Vladimir Putin having the bully pulpit there at the GM summit in Moscow and being able to criticize the U.S. So they've been downplaying this to look for just, maybe a couple of dozen surgical strikes this weekend, then they would quit for the G2 summit, and then they'd hit it full on later on. Because you see, if they hit it too hard, Assad thinks that he's being back to the wall, then he's tempted to start to launch his missiles at, in a use them or lose them type thing with Israel. I think the propaganda or the diplomatic statement that Kerry put out today or yesterday that we're not attempting to overthrow Assad, big lie.
Tell you what, stay there. Stay there. Kerry's speaking now.
As we saw in Katrina, and as we are watching now in New York and New Jersey, the federal government can't and won't help you in a crisis. FEMA ran out of water and MREs in days. Electricity is still off to over 1 million people. The Red Cross, who is quick to beg for money, is now slow to react. Don't put it off any longer. Get prepared today. While you're on InfoWarsShop.com, check out these other great preparedness items. The Aquapod kit lets you store up to 65 gallons of water in your bathtub. The Pocket Socket provides you with manual electricity for small electronics like your cell phone. The Life Straw is great for your bug-out bag. And check out our complete line of Interfood products for great tasting and nutritionally dense foods that have a great shelf life. If you are looking to secure your home in a crisis, you can order Strategic Relocations, the film, a great companion to the book Strategic Relocations 3rd edition, and The Secure Home by Joel Skousen. When the time to perform arrives, the time to prepare has already passed. Get prepared now, so if a crisis strikes your home, you and your family will be secure. Go to InfoWarsShop.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're watching the State Department's website, and it has Kerry speaking live, they're saying, but CNN says they have a live feed. Minutes after, there's no Kerry. Show the State Department site, and then let's flip over to CNN to show people what we're talking about. Oh, he finally came out. So how much? Well, that's the State Department site. Then you flip over to CNN, and it's not there. So they say Kerry's about to speak, but he just came out like 3 minutes ago and started speaking. And then that just shows how delayed it is. That is bizarre. Man, I tell you, CNN is so jacked. I mean, they are so manipulative. Wow. We're going to continue here to try to figure out exactly what's happening. Joel Skousen from World Affairs Brief, the editor over there, military man, a great political mind in my view. That's why we have him joining us. I agree with you. I think they'll probably do some really small thing to save face and say, see, we did something. And then ramp it up, because that's the drumbeat. We've got to do something. We've got to do something. Hundreds of thousands are dying, never pointing out the globalists started this. But the collapse of confidence in them, Brzezinski's back out again this week saying this. He said the alternative media is the cause of this and that they're losing control. He's hitting the panic button to the CFR. What does that signify?
Well, they're going to have to manage this because the wave of opposition is growing. That's why they're going to have to come out with some manufactured false information to justify this, to get the people back on board. The longer they delay, the worse it's going to be. Before I get on this plane, let me just get in this very important point, though. I think Glenn Beck is wrong. This is not going to run into World War III. Russia's giving every sign. Lavrov said, we are not going to attack anyone, meaning we're not going to war. Green light to the U.S. to kick Assad out. They're posturing, appearing to, make a play. But if they wanted to stop the U.S. from going in, or Israel, they just have to simply put 2 fighter squadrons into the Syrian air bases, and they wouldn't touch them. And they're not doing that. Shows Russia's not serious about defending Syria. Russia and China are not ready to go to war. This may well and very probably will turn in the big Middle East war that I've been predicting. Because if Assad is forced to retaliate with everything he's got, Iran will join him. Then Israel gets, and U.S. gets to attack Iran without having to provoke it with a first strike, as Israel was planning to do.
But you said they've always been trying to sucker them into this. But how can they morally attack countries and then they defend themselves and sell wider wars? I guess this is just a total position where America becomes the bad guy.
Well, this is a total propaganda blitz. I was cringing when I listened to NPR yesterday. Mara Liasson just lied through her teeth, said Obama's got himself into a box. He's put a red line down. He let Syria attack with chemical weapons earlier this year, and he did it again. I mean, she lied both times. The UN has cleared Syria on the first attack and said it was the rebels. I mean, to do a bald-faced lie like that is just incredible.
Amazing. We've only got a minute left, Joel, and let you get on that plane. If there is a limited strike, when do you expect it to take place? Saturday or Sunday after the UN inspectors are pulled?
Well, you know, even that is a little bit chancy now because of the fact that everybody's demanding in Congress that you wait for the UN. Obama may be forced to wait. And so I would give it only a 50-50 chance, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen probably Sunday or Monday. Try to clear out. Could go into Tuesday if they want it over with before the Wednesday summit starts.
Joel Skousen, World Affairs Brief, thank you so much for spending time with us. In closing, does this signal a major reversal, though, of the globalist element of the New World Order?
No, it's just something that they've got to manage, not a reversal. They're really powerful.
Okay, so it's something they've got to manage. All right, we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, with a ton of news. Your phone calls. Ron Paul has come out and says he thinks the Syrian attack with the nerve gas is a false flag, and more. Straight ahead, we are the true free press, broadcasting worldwide.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at InfoWars.com/show.